Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Xochitl Flores, and I am the Bureau Chief of the Cook County Bureau of Economic Development. I am extremely thrilled to be here today in this important announcement, but also to close out National Small Business Week. This room really reflects so many of our leaders, our stakeholders that make up our small business ecosystem. And I really want to stress that it's our ecosystem and our small business program because collectively we have made this happen. So thank you to each of you. I know that we at the county are so excited about today. And as the saying goes, it takes a village. Fortunately, we have a very, very large village, and I am not shy about knocking on doors and asking for help. So thank you for that village. And part of that village includes a very talented group of business support partners, a robust team at Next Street, led by Cherise, and a small but extremely committed team within the Bureau of Economic Development. Oftentimes people think, oh, Cook County government, you must have like hundreds of people that are working with you. Remarkably, it is a very small team of about 5 individuals that have really made this happen. So thank you to each of them. We collectively, us government alongside with businesses and our business service organizations, have demonstrated that by collaborating, we can reignite not just our economies, but our communities. And that is so critical because we know that we cannot do this in a silo. Government alone cannot do it. It is so important to have that strong, genuine, committed collaboration, and we have demonstrated the impact of those efforts. I want to take a moment to recognize the secret sauce behind much of what you see today, and the people that most of you have not seen because they have been busy behind the scenes making all this stuff happen. We have been fortunate to work with 2 talented Cook County-based firms, Lemonade Stand, which has designed our new amazing website, and I'm very personally thrilled about it. And also That's So Creative, which made the video that you will see in a minute. And to be quite honest, I nearly had a tear when I saw that video. The principals of both of those firms are here, and I would like to ask them both to just stand up for a second so we can recognize them and give them a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh. Did you get all 4 of them? Thank you. Our program today will begin with the new video about our work. Following the video, we will be welcomed with brief remarks from our local dignitaries, including Cook County President Preckwinkle, Commissioner Frank Aguilar, Commissioner Alma Anaya, and Commissioner Kevin Morrison. We will then pivot to the main event of today, and it's very exciting. We have brought together a very dynamic group that includes business owners, subject matter experts in small business, and representatives of our business service organizations. They will be moderated in a very interesting discussion by President Preckwinkle, and they will talk about the challenges that businesses face during this environment and how the small business network that has been stood up by Cook County has really made an impact on their businesses. So, without much further ado, I'd like to introduce today's video that highlights our work and our impact. Please have your little napkins ready because I am personally very proud of it. So thank you, and let's get the video going.
Every community depends on small businesses. Their goods, services, and personalized care for their customers makes them one of a kind. They enrich and breathe life into our community. Small businesses provide nearly 45% of jobs in Illinois. When you support small business, you support your neighbors. That's why, when small businesses needed our help, we stepped up. We are the Cook County Small Business Source, and we have what you need when you need it, every day.
I think the way that everybody reaches out, they make you feel comfortable. You don't feel as though, you're bothering them. They offer their help. They're very helpful. They explain things to you. I think they're great to work with.
I think the most beneficial part was just knowing that we had support from the program, and it just it helped to just get through that difficult time, and thankfully we're still here.
The most beneficial part for me from the Small Business Assistant Program was working with the BA. I had a one-on-one consultant with the BA who was able to steer me in the right direction for all of the resources that I needed during this time.
Seeing the impact of COVID-19, Cook County stepped in to help small businesses reposition themselves during the pandemic and come out stronger on the other side.
The county sprang into action and created a suite of programs, our Community Recovery Initiative, to assist small businesses and gig workers. And what we did was survey the business community to see what they needed. And people asked for assistance, they asked for grants and loans, and those are the kinds of things that we tried to provide for them.
The source connects Cook County-based small businesses with the resources and support they need to grow, scale, and prosper at no cost to them. We prioritize personal interaction, so each small business owner receives help relevant to their situation. We ensure that all business owners have ready access to guidance on topics like accounting, business management, customer relations, finance, marketing, and more. The centerpiece of our program is one-on-one business advising sessions with expert business advisors, augmented by webinars, toolkits, and an easy-to-access website. All services and resources are free.
Number one, not just the money that they were distributing, but that was a factor, but the technical assistance, the support that they gave the business owners. Very importantly, though, what they did to make sure that they reached everyone within Cook County is they brought in 35 other neighborhood organizations to make sure there was outreach.
What began as the Cook County COVID-19 Recovery Small Business Assistance Program is the Cook County Small Business Source. Are you a small business needing support during these unprecedented times? Build a plan for growth and success with Cook County today. Visit the source at www.cookcountysmallbiz.org.
All right, Madam President, I will hand it over to you next.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to ask our two commissioners, Commissioner Aguilar and Commissioner Anaya, to say a few words before we begin here. You're going to hear from Commissioner Morrison as part of the panel, so I'll give him a chance to say his greetings then. Okay, is that all right, Kevin? Whatever works. Okay, a good sport. All right, Commissioner Aguilar, you want to welcome us to your district?
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for that. Thank you for the introduction, Madam President Preckwinkle. Delighted to be here in Connie's and truly a true angle. Again, in Connie's, I'm always here hanging out with, having breakfast. But I've also ran a small chamber of commerce. In fact, the Little Village Chamber of Commerce back in the day, so I know firsthand how important it is for small businesses and government to work together for a community to thrive. So again, I want to just thank you all for being here. I am so pleased to be here with you today in celebration of National Small Business Week and the county's historic investment in small businesses through the Cook County Small Business Resource and utilization of the American Rescue Fund Act. I have appreciated the opportunities to work closely with what is now called the Small Business Source, as many businesses have contacted me seeking assistance during the pandemic, as I knew how the program could help them. I am thrilled to know that the program is growing, and so many businesses in my district across the county need this type of support. I have also worked closely with many of the key businesses services organizations involved, including the Berwyn Development Corporation, which is an ideal organization in the western suburbs. David, you did a tremendous job with the corporation, and thank you for your work. The Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and the Illinois Restaurant Association. I am also pleased with the resources available through the source, like one-on-one business advising services, webinars, and upcoming grants. This is what businesses need, and not only to survive, but to thrive. Thank you again for the opportunity, and now I will introduce, Commissioner, my colleague on the board, Commissioner Alma Anaya.
Buenas tardes, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alma Anaya. I am the Cook County Commissioner of the 7th District, which is a neighboring district just east of Commissioner Aguilar's district. And I'm really excited to be here. I am the Vice Chair of Business and Economic Development at the county level. And I think, I mentioned to someone earlier today that it's really good to see people after 2 years, right? Every time I would see people the past 2 years, it was because of catastrophe or something really bad, right, or detrimental to our community was happening. But this time it's because it's a good celebration. I am just so honored, after many conversations at the beginning that the county really took this task very seriously about providing support. And the video we just saw, I believe Mr. Corona mentioned, we're still here. And I think that that's the beauty of this program, the beauty of, our Cook County Bureau of Business Economic Development, and the success that came out of it, right? The fact that our small businesses, the businesses that saw a huge impact in the beginning are still here, and we're helping support them and creating an infrastructure in Cook County to take things to another level, to help provide, different technical assistance and to be able to provide a very holistic way and approach to the owners, but also to the business in itself, right? To provide the resources and that good first step and foundation to get them to the next level. And I know it's been technical assistance with, technology or getting paperwork in place. And that's beautiful. And I just can't, commend the Bureau and the President's Office enough for really taking this task very seriously and being able to provide this in Cook County. Before, I used to be like, I'm the Vice Chair of Business and Economic Development. And they're like, oh, well, what do you guys do? And I'm like, oh, well, we approve tax incentives like all the time. But this is really bringing a mission forward. And it's really providing the county to be able to help small businesses, not only, in the city of Chicago, not only in suburban Cook County, but all throughout. And I think that's exactly why I'm just so excited to be able to be here in celebration, of course, of the source and all of the great work that the different partners have really set forth. I was asked to make I know we're being live streamed, so I want to make a small statement in Spanish as well. So, buenas tardes, me llamo Alma Anaya, yo soy la comisionada del 7º Distrito, y me da una gran alegría estar hoy día con ustedes, porque estamos celebrando algo, ¿verdad? Celebrando que el condado de Cook hizo algo tremendo. Es algo que estamos empezando a ver el fruto de los recursos y todo lo que se hizo a cabo, ¿verdad? La infraestructura que se hizo para los negocios pequeños en nuestras comunidades, los negocios de los inmigrantes, negocios de personas afroamericanas, asiáticas, latinos, que necesitaban esa ayuda, especialmente porque la pandemia los impactó tremendamente. Y esto es un tiempo de hacer una celebración, porque el condado hizo esta iniciativa y vamos a continuar esta iniciativa para poder traer apoyo que es muy necesario para que nuestros negocios tengan todos los recursos necesarios y que tengan a personas, ¿verdad?, que les van a ayudar uno a uno, o quizás en ayudar con la tecnología, con cualquier papeleo que se tenga que hacer. Y por eso les invitamos a cualquier pequeño negocio que necesita ayuda, que acuda a nosotros. Como condado estamos aquí para servirles. So thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
Okay, continuing not to follow Soshi's script here. Soshi, would you stand up? I am very grateful to the Bureau of Economic Development and Soshi for her leadership. Soshi, would you introduce your team who are here?
Yes, Irene, Cher, Stan. All right, so we've got a robust group here. We've got Aaron Matthews.
All right, we got everybody? All right, good. Now, you know, my script says that Commissioner Morrison gets 2 bites of the apple. Do you want to come up here and say a few words in addition to your panel thing?
Is that all right? I'll be
Yes.
brief.
Yes, it's definitely all right.
Sorry, I was blocked in. Good to see everyone. Happy National Small Business Week. I want to thank President Preckwinkle, Xochitl Flores, Irene Scher, and the entire Cook County Bureau of Economic Development for having me here today and for your endless work supporting our small business community. And I want to thank Commissioner Aguilar for having us here in the 16th District. I'm so glad to be here with you today. It is critical now more than ever that we find ways to better support our small businesses as they face unprecedented challenges following the pandemic. I've seen up close and personal how my family struggles running a restaurant and the toll that this pandemic has taken on our small businesses. Small businesses already needed more attention and support before the pandemic, and many of those challenges were greatly exacerbated during COVID. I'm so proud that the Cook County Board and the Bureau of Economic Development has offered small business assistance throughout this pandemic, including extensive technical assistance in navigating the vast federal funding opportunities, a one-stop shop small business center, and direct assistance grants. I'm thankful to President Preckwinkle for working with commissioners in making small businesses a priority in our recovery strategy. It's critical for our businesses, residents, and overall economy that we continue this level of support, which is why I was proud to vote to approve additional American Rescue Plan Act funding in the last several months to continue assistance for our small businesses. That assistance and coordination done by the Bureau of Economic Development and their partners have made the Cook County Small Business Source a reality. The Cook County Small Business Source will help our small businesses to thrive and will power Cook County's recovery. And I want to thank you for having me here today, and I look forward to this conversation. Thank you.
Okay, so before I begin, I just want you to know that I have new high blood pressure medicine that makes me cough. So if I start coughing, it's not because I have COVID or anything terrible. So you don't have to worry about that. High blood pressure is not contagious. I want to thank all of you for joining us. Lots of familiar faces in the room. I'm grateful for that. As National Small Business Week wraps up, I'm proud to be part of the celebration of Cook County small business community and our small business initiatives. And I want to thank a number of folks who've made that possible. First, our fantastic business organizations that make this program what it is today, and we appreciate that many of you have come to this event in person. I also want to salute our strong and visionary program coordinator, Next Street, which has helped us build a nationally recognized program. Additionally, thanks to the state of Illinois, the Chicago Community Trust, We Rise Together, and others in the philanthropic community which have supported this effort. I would also like to recognize the elected officials again, Commissioner Aguilar, Commissioner Anaya, Commissioner Morrison. We're grateful to all of them for joining us. And today would not have been possible without the generous support of Berwyn Development Corporation. Now, help me out here. Andy Sotiropoulos, is that close? Good. Good? Good. Owner of Connie's Family Restaurant and Evanston's Yo Fresh Cafe for providing all the treats and beverages. Hear, hear. All right, we're here to highlight the growth and impact of Cook County Small Business Assistance Program, which has supported over 10,000 small businesses since the beginning of the pandemic. As our program has evolved from its initial focus on relief to one of resiliency and now growth, we realized we needed a new name to fully reflect the breadth of our work. So we're now called the Cook County Small Business Source. The Source, as we refer to it, reflects our interest in becoming the go-to resource for everything small businesses need to thrive in Cook County. We want to provide businesses with nourishment and support in every stage of their growth and development. Have a question about available funding? Need one-to-one assistance in Spanish? Interested in becoming an MBE, WBE certified business? Interested in a web presence? Then come to the Source and we'll connect you with advice and support you need. To fund these efforts, Cook County is investing an historic $37 million in American Rescue Plan funding. It's $37 million just this year. And this includes a record level of investment in programs like the Source and new small business grant programs to be announced later this summer. So look forward to that. Small businesses with 50 employees or less represent 94%, almost 100% of all local Cook County businesses and contribute 36% to the workforce. Studies both regionally and nationally show that small businesses are the foundation of a strong and vibrant local economy. Prior to the pandemic, the landscape was difficult for small businesses, it always is, and the challenges created by the pandemic led to an unprecedented 2 years for any entrepreneur or small business owner. Many businesses survived and even thrived, as you will hear in our panel discussion, and perhaps surprisingly, new businesses launched at an unprecedented rate during the pandemic, particularly businesses owned by Black and brown people. So now we're seeing entrepreneurial growth in many different sectors across Cook County, and we plan to offer support to these new micro businesses, mostly 1 or 2 employees, and help them grow as well as offer them support in the sectors that are hardest hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. With this investment combined with expert resources and guidance by the Source, entrepreneurs will both survive and thrive in Cook County. And to learn more, head to our site, our www. Cook County Small Biz site. It's smallbiz.org. I should do that again. Cook County Small Biz, biz.org. With the leadership represented by our partners and the availability of our ARPA, American Rescue Plan funds, we have the opportunity to accelerate and lift up small business initiatives to build an environment that offers all businesses a chance for long-term success. So again, thank you to all our partners in this important work, which continues to allow us to act boldly, swiftly, and in support of small businesses. Now, our panel. Sharice Conanan, did I say that right? Yes, you did. Johnson, managing partner of Next Street. Next Street has been with us all the way in our small business assistance. We're very grateful to them. David Holzberg, did I say it right?
It is from now on.
No. Try again. David
It
what?
was perfect. You were
What,
perfect.
David what?
You were correct, right on.
You were kidding me.
No, I wasn't. You're all good.
All right. Andy, I tried it once. I'm going to stick with that.
We're good. Leave it at that.
Hortensia Aldana? Close? Hortensia, okay. All right, who's program coordinator for the small business, Cook County Small Business Program for the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and of course, Commissioner Kevin Morrison, who you heard from earlier. All right, we're going to start with Sharice. I've got a couple questions I'm supposed to ask you. So Next Street does work all across the country. How is our program different from what you see elsewhere? And how does supporting small businesses help close the racial wealth gap? Sharice.
Good afternoon. There we go. Had a good precedent. It's great to be here. And first, just thank you to Madam President, and thank you to the Bureau, and to my colleagues, Sarah Dinges and Matt Revere, who are here with me today. You asked, what makes this program different? And just to give you a sense of our perspective, we are curating solutions across the country around small business infrastructure and also the broader small business ecosystem. So we work with governments, corporations, foundations, everyone. And so that gives us the perspective that says we recognize when things are different. And the first piece of this program that's different has been the fact that it has focused on community needs. Now, this program started with, before the pandemic, with an assessment of what those community needs are. And we found out then that not only did small businesses need capital, but they did need those wraparound services. And so these partners have been working together, not just in COVID, but prior to that, which has made the strength palpable. That's the only way that we've been able to have this kind of coalition. The second thing that makes this program unique is that it focused also on bringing in best practices from around the country. One of the biggest things that we learned and observed is that grant capital is essential in this environment, and that has helped many small businesses continue to thrive and survive. The third thing that makes this program different is its focus on businesses that have not been served by other entities. And so a lot of programs are focused on larger business, non-diverse businesses. But this program, as you've been hearing over and over again, puts diversity and some of these smaller businesses right at the heart. Over 55% of the recipients are women-owned. Over 66 are entrepreneurs and small businesses owned by people of color. 76% are businesses that have less than 5 employees, and over 83% are businesses that have less than $500,000 in revenue. That's powerful. The fourth thing I would say is that this program is centered on the small business. Sometimes that's easier said than done, but when you have a small business-minded community that puts that at the center, good things happen, and great things have happened with this program. Now, President, you also asked about how small businesses help close the racial wealth gap. And so just for some context setting, you've been hearing some of it already, but small businesses are the bedrock of jobs, which obviously create wealth, but also directly creating wealth, because just taking one step back, we know that racial inequality in this country is a big issue. White families, for instance, earn or have wealth in their households 10 times Black families, and 7 to 8 times Latino families. That's a stark difference. However, we also know that when you have a household with a small business owner, wealth is 5 times in that household, the median wealth, than in a household that doesn't have a small business owner. So when we invest behind small businesses, those small businesses bring more wealth to their households, which chips away at the racial wealth gap. I'm getting chills just saying those statistics. That's really important, because small business is directly related to closing in on that gap. Also, we know that when we spend dollars at a local small business, for every $100 spent, 68% stays within a local community. That's wealth. Compared to a non-local business where only 43% stays in the local community. So when you take those stats, we want to support not only the existing businesses that have been hardest hit and in the industries that where we have focused on, which are around retail and professional services and accommodation, that's really important, but we also want to support some of the newer starting businesses, which since July 2020 have grown so much, and particularly who's leading the way? Businesses owned by people of color. So we have an important work to do. It's been different, unique, but also a key lever in closing the racial wealth gap.
Better? I didn't find a nameplate for myself at the table, so I thought there was a message there. But anyway, all right. I think David's next. Is that right? Sure. Okay, I'm going to read the questions I'm instructed to ask her. What are some of the most challenging circumstances that you've seen your small business owners face? And can you give an example of a time you helped a business overcome a challenge?
You know, I probably speak for many of the community navigators that are out there. We had all a great privilege in reaching out to hundreds of small businesses and hearing their woes and what was going on and what their needs were. Each one was a little bit different, but what we did hear was from the Black and brown community. And how do I grow my business? How do I survive in this marketplace? And so what we were encouraging was you need to engage in social media. It's a natural place where you can grow your business in a pandemic. And what we then saw was, well, how do I do that? And it was like, do you have family members that are younger, that are engaged into the profession? And they're like, oh yeah, my nephew does TikTok, but I don't know how it's done. And it's like, well, you know what? You need to get them involved in your business. So my team came back after hearing story upon story of this, and we actually felt like cheerleaders. And there was this warm, fuzzy feeling that we all walked away with. And then when we had our team meetings, we got to share stories as well. So we said, hey, what can we do about this? You know, in our local community, what can we do to make a difference? So we pledged $50,000 as an organization, and we went to our community college. And we said, we want to go ahead and give internship opportunities to 20 students into 20 businesses to have them engage and write a social media campaign, or could be a website for them. So that's a good example where 20 businesses that are minority-based, Black and brown community, that are now getting websites at our expense, but we're more so, we've now engaged 20 students into the profession that they got to actually get work experience on their resume. So I think there's just a perfect example of how we can all work together and play together nice in the sandbox.
All right, good. I'm going to ask you. So I realize that our panelists are stellar, but let's not clap every time, okay? All right. So you're one of our strongest partners. How has being part of the network strengthened your organization and programs? David?
Well, I had Next Street steal some of my employees.
Oh.
No, but it's all good.
A sore spot, huh?
No, it's great to see your employees move on, grow in their own profession, and do well. And so I always like to give a ribbing wherever I can. That comes with growing up in a big family. So, you know, a good example was, as we discussed issues within our community with other partners, so I'm going to use WBDC as an example here. We talked about saying, you know, what we're hearing is small business needs a place where they can explore their business and try to get it to open. So you need to be able to experiment. And so how do you know if your product is going to be marketable? The only way you're going to do that is by being out there on the streets and finding a way to do that. So as we talked with WBDC, we said, how about if we invested some money ourselves locally in creating a retail incubator that will be opening on June 3rd, and you all have an invitation on your desk there.
All right.
So we said, we're going to invest in the community, and it's relatively speaking, a $500,000 investment, where we're going to start with 12 businesses to go ahead and open up a shop on Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays from June to December, and let them try what their product could be and whether it meets the marketplace. More importantly, WBDC came in and said, we're going to offer them classes on how to run the businesses and do well at that. So our goal is really to create brick and mortar businesses out of these pop-up shops that are in this incubator environment in what are now 12 she sheds, 12 by 15 up on Roosevelt Road. And interesting, we had 60 people express interest originally in this product. And what ended up happening is we narrowed it down to 20. We had a community panel come together, and they selected in a Shark Tank environment who these best 12 would be to suit and serve our community. Out of that, guess how many are men? That's right, 0. There are 12 women that will be our entrepreneurs, 11 of which are Latinx. So we are exceedingly excited about watching the needs of the community being met in this environment. So it's just a great opportunity for us.
All right. How about that? I guess you could applaud. Yeah, that's good. All right. One last question for you. What does the source mean for Berwyn and the businesses you serve?
It's really simple. It's that we can meet the needs of our community by listening and going out there. And, you know, as a result of that, we now have a community loan pool of $7.5 million that we can loan out into the local community. We've now had the mayor of Cicero saying, hey, can you come over and help us? We've had the mayor of North Riverside say, can you take some of your loan pool and help us? And we've actually looked at it and said, you know what? What's good for Berwyn is good for our communities around us, and we are all collectively stronger by working together. So we've expanded our footprint and are now willing to go ahead in those other communities.
Good for you. Thank you. Thank you very much, David. All right, Andy's next. Again, our thanks for hosting the event today and feeding all of us. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the family business? How long have you been in business? What has Berwyn Development Corporation and Cook County done to help you during the pandemic? What do you see for your business moving forward?
So the business has been here since 1944. My parents were immigrants at a younger age. My dad actually started off as a line cook here in 1968. He was able to purchase the business in 1978. My sister and I grew up here. It's like a old running joke. Like when we started school, we didn't know English because, you know, the grandparents were watching us, or there's pictures floating around on the internet of me peeling potatoes at 5, like we call it Greek daycare. It was like a joke back in the day. But I was able to come back to the business about 12 to 15 years ago. After leaving, going corporate, stuff like that, where I came back, started doing the party room in addition to the diner next door, started bringing in a catering business. Got more involved in the community. I was actually the president of the board for the BDC up until this past January. Worked with Dave on a lot of the stuff that he said, that he went over with. With the COVID, it just rocked, especially the restaurant industry. When you're used to 95% dine-in and 2 days before St. Patrick's Day and you have 700 pounds of corned beef and you're like, yeah, we're closing tomorrow. I'm like, oh. So we had all the resources from the BDC, really help out, go more social, do the online ordering, do the social media. With Cook County, the business interruption grant really came big in the winter of 2000. Yeah, because again, shutting down, it's usually the busiest time of the year. So you're shutting down, and you really, like you said, we're involved in the community. So we've been here for so many years, 78 years, where most of our employees live within a half a mile of here. So we're not ones to, I'm going to lay you off, but just wait there, come back 2 weeks from now, or whenever it is. So you're able to help, like, just keep them on the payroll, even if it's not, even if you have no business. So Cook County stepped up huge, working with, I've seen firsthand from the president's side and from the business side, how a very small team of like 6 people truly did the work of a much larger team. And Berwyn was able to there was some collateral damage because of COVID. I mean, that's natural. But we, as a city, really came out thriving. And I think it's going to be a really great couple years coming up with the small businesses.
So on a personal note, what brought you back to the family business after your stint in corporate world?
Okay, so I was doing government work and then doing cell phones for Motorola. Remember, everybody had the little Razor, the cell phone. Yeah. I was traveling all over, and at that time, Motorola just took a downturn. So I decided to leave there, took a year off, and then I was actually going to go back to corporate. On a Monday, I had a meeting in Toronto for Research in Motion to take over their corporate accounts for the Midwest. On a Friday, my father drove himself to the hospital and had a quintuple bypass. So like Saturday night, I think I was here finally, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'd be able to walk into this place if it wasn't in my family, and I don't know if my father's going to be alive tomorrow. So I called them and said, I'm like, thank you, but no thank you. Came back to Berwyn.
Interesting story.
Yeah.
How did the father survive?
He's a beast. He's right next door. I'm surprised you haven't heard him yelling already.
All right. I think, thank you very much for sharing your story. All right, I think Hortensia
Thank you, everybody. Hello. Good afternoon. Thank you for the invitation and the team at Next Street, Sarah back there. It's been wonderful to work with everybody. We're very proud to be part of this initiative. To me, I think what has been very successful for this program is that it's a collective effort. We're not just like a single organization working on this. We are made up of varied entities that were represented here, that we are all working and collaborating towards the same goal, which is to help businesses, small businesses, prosper and thrive. I think that with the Cook County support and financial investment for us specifically, we've been able to more than triple the number of businesses that we serve. And this is huge because even right now with that triple number, we know that we're still starting to make a dent on the business community because the need, especially after COVID that everybody has been talking, is huge. So I really thank the Cook County for being able to provide those resources. Through this network and with the IACC, we give voice to the Hispanic community. This is a very diverse group. We're here to help. Estamos aquí para ayudar. And we understand the needs and we can communicate with these small business owners. Also, we have, for example, when we help with the grants that have been offered, we've been able to increase the number of grant participants because many times the Hispanic, specifically community, is not very trusting of the financial institutions or do not know where to start, where to go. And so when we got there, I was also part of the corporate world, and nothing beats the thank you from the small business owner and to see the impact that we're having on those communities and those businesses. When we help them, we have them for life. They're our biggest cheerleader. And so I think to me that's also a very important part of this program, to be able to see that change and that impact that we're having, not only by providing those resources, but making them grow for them. We are collaborating right now with the Illinois Restaurant Association. We were the first group to whom they reach out to provide some free certification classes, and that represented around $7,500 savings on the cost for the small businesses. So I think that yes, but on our own, we do a lot, but together we add up and we can help more businesses.
Thank you very much, Hortensia. So cleanup here is Commissioner Morrison, who shares with Andy a history of a family restaurant. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. Share your experience, please.
Yes, of course. Thank you. So, growing up in the northwest suburbs, all I've ever known is small businesses. And though I'm not Greek like my friend to the left, I often do get, you must have a Greek family because we own a restaurant. My grandparents started a restaurant in Chicago 53 years ago. And, that family story, as well as, my first job helping de-weed the property at the restaurant have really shaped, and helped bring me to where I am today. I remember as a little kid, my mom giving me a garbage bag that was taller than I was and saying, keep busy, and I'd go around the property de-weeding. Working at the family restaurant, helping out in the kitchen, throughout college, I helped deliver. I served at the restaurant. But more importantly, I saw the hardship of seeing two incredibly strong-willed women own and operate a restaurant. My mom my aunt were owners ever since I was born. The ownership had transferred to them. The restaurant had started with my grandparents after they immigrated from Italy in the early 50s. And just hearing their story was very impactful for me. My grandparents came here with nothing. My grandma's side was starving. And my grandfather started by selling vegetables out of a van to local restaurants around Chicago and used the money that he saved from that to open up a snack shop. And it was the money he saved from that snack shop that led to opening a pickup and delivery restaurant and ultimately buying the property that now is 53 years today, seats 120, and operates 2 bars. And so just understanding the experience of my family and how they were able to build themselves up from having so little funds at the very beginning, but using their entrepreneurial mindset to really build something great and a staple of a local community that gives back so fundamentally to our local schools, our local churches, hosting fundraisers for customers in need. When, I remember when I was a kid, one of our regulars had a daughter who had a brain tumor and they couldn't afford the medical bills. And my family for weeks would have 25% of all the funds that came into the restaurant go to that family to help them deal with their medical costs. And seeing just the incredible impact our small businesses give back to their local community really compelled me when I made the ultimate decision to run. How could we do a better job supporting our small businesses? It's far more difficult today if you come from low means to be able to get something up and running, to help grow your local economies. I remember as I was running, going door to door in the 15th district in the northwest suburbs and meeting folks who were operating their small businesses out of their homes. I knew that if elected, I wanted to see what could we be done to help the county give more support to these up-and-coming entrepreneurs, to help get them the funding they needed to be able to open a brick and mortar shop, hire more staff, and really grow their local economies. And so I remember in my first days, Commissioner Almanaya was with us earlier today. We went to LA County to learn more about the equity work that they were doing there. And we saw all the great things LA County was doing to support their small businesses. And one of those was a one-stop shop. How do we put all the services and opportunities that are available for small businesses in one place? And now we're able to do it here in Cook County through the great work of Xochitl Flores and her team at BED. And so being part of that work and helping move our county in a better direction to support small businesses always needs to be a critical and important initiative that we're focusing on at the county. And I really think it's going to build us and move us in an incredibly better direction in the years to come.
All right, thank you, Kevin. Hortensia, Andy, David, Sharice, thank you very much for joining us. Kevin, of course, we're grateful for your participation as a commissioner and for your advocacy on behalf of small businesses throughout your tenure. I'm going to ask a closing question of Sharice. What else can local government do to support businesses that have been historically excluded?
Thank you. Great question as we round out today. Obviously, the county has done a ton. And we should all be grateful. And I think what you've heard here, that small businesses, when you see that impact, it is powerful. But what local governments can do, number one, I would say there has to be a focus on equity. And we hear that phrase a lot, but what does it mean, right? It is providing access to opportunity, to resources and support, and being intentional about that focus, particularly to communities of color. It's also about understanding historical context, current needs, and the situation at hand. We did that well here, and local governments can learn a lot from that. Historically, just by perspective, the Small Business Administration, so federal government helping small businesses, only 10% of their dollars historically have gone to Black and Latinx owners. And we make up over 30% of the population. So understanding historical context and then designing solutions around that intentionality for communities of color is key. The other thing I would say is that you've heard a lot today about the network of business support organizations and working together, putting aside egos, and the governments have the responsibility, but also the power and the platform to bring all of those people together, as the Bureau has done, and quite beautifully and gracefully. I think local governments could also continue to focus on technology. It is so important because it democratizes access, right? Like, it is about bringing down those barriers. The source, as we are all encouraging folks to turn to today, is a powerful tool, and I'm seeing the lovely smiles of the builders of that platform. And then finally, I would say, what can local governments do? Long-term vision, which this team has had, and it starts with connecting the funding to that long-term vision, which continues to happen, and has the right leadership that is committed to these goals, which I think other local governments will be inspired by what is happening, and already because of the nationally recognized impact that this has had. And so that's what I would leave in terms of what local governments can do to create something like we've done here and continue to have deep impact in the communities that we all care about.
Thank you, Sharice. I appreciate that. Now, repeat what you said. 10% of SBA, Small Business Administration dollars go to Black and brown businesses?
That's correct. 10%.
Okay. You know, we live in a society in which there's tremendous inequity, and government is not a bystander in that inequity. Actually, government action has contributed historically to the tremendous inequities that we see in our country, and so therefore it's particularly an obligation of government to try to do what it can to right the wrongs of the past, repair harm, but also going forward to be focused on equity. So I want to thank all of you for joining us today. I want to thank our Bureau of Economic Development staff and all of our partners for their good work over the past couple of years. Thank you.
We want to give a big call out to Cook County for all of their efforts and your efforts, Madam President. So join me, please.